Hi, my name is Danielle, and this is how I survived an abusive teen facility. My parents were young and they didn't have a lot of support, so they found support in the church. I had a severe learning disability. My mom had her own mental health issues going on, and my dad was struggling with his own business at the time. In middle school, it was my first time in public school. And unfortunately, one day leaving school, somebody saw me and knew that they could probably take it, that I was a weak link and they could take advantage of me. And I was scared, too scared to go home and tell my family because they were already dealing with my mother's issues and problems. But eventually it kind of came out with self-harming and some depression. And my dad had to take care of us. He tried his best to help me and get me to hang out with my friends and taught me how to defend myself a little bit. My mom would write me letters from the hospital trying to tell me to stay strong. And my friend started standing up for me, and she really started saying that she needs some help. She actually didn't wind up leaving my house for months, but they started seeing our friendship as being too close and thought that I was turning gay. They pulled me away from her. Someone in the church, the pastor, said, well, we've heard of a place in upstate New York that takes children. They don't charge you anything. They had me there within 24 hours. You could tell something wasn't right with it. It didn't feel right. They separated you from your parents. There's no telephones, there's no TV, there's no access to the outside world. It's all very controlled. They have guards. The leader, he runs the whole thing. He tells us he's a prophet. Everything about him is based on fear, guilt, and shame. You have a big sister, it's called, who has to follow you everywhere. There's a 6-inch rule. You're not allowed to touch anybody. You're not allowed to talk out of term. You're not allowed to walk out of term. Our main goal is to go to these classes and bring in money for him. The place I went to is called Freedom Village, USA. He has lots of ways of bringing in money, which all ways of constantly change depending on which scam he's running. But what he does is he marries you off. It feeds on itself. So it's a cult. There's different levels. And once you're there for a certain amount of time, moves you up into junior level, then junior staff, senior staff. Then you get married, have children, work for him. You stay on this farm. You never leave. So you become a lifer, it's called. And what we do is we reach out to people trying to get them to adopt us, to send money to us. He would have a television show. We had a radio show. He would put us on there and make us lie, saying if we weren't there, we would be out hurting people. Please send money to us. He had us reaching out to local grocery stores that gave us spoiled food, so he didn't have to give us food. We never saw the money. He lived very lavishly. The girls lived in an old dormitory that the windows were cracked. We had to put blow dryers on the floor just to stay warm. Or the ones that would fight him, he would get rid of them quick. If you didn't buy into it, you were gone quick. If not, then you're a lifer and you get stuck in it. You get stuck believing his ways. You would do anything for him. You're only allowed to write a letter to your family once a month. They have to read it first. Anything coming in, they read it first. They do contraband where they check everything and make sure you're not holding on to any information about the place and what they're making you do and all the sickness that's going on there. The amount of abuse, sexual abuse, gay conversion, he would constantly have schemes, and it became a culture of hurting each other. You got ahead by telling on each other. You got ahead by putting each other down because you wanted pastor's attention so bad. When I was in Freedom Village, one of the first times I interacted with Fletcher Brothers, which was the leader of Freedom Village. There was a girl saying she wanted to go home, and me being a naturally comforter, I hugged her, and there was a rule, you're not allowed to touch women, especially because of the fact that my parents had said that I was gay. And like I said, there's a culture of telling on people, so everybody's scared constantly. So instead, she was scared that I would tell on her for saying that. But what she did is she ran and told that I gave her a hug. She dragged down to my room by a senior staff, which is somebody who's graduated the program. and met me in the cafeteria at night, and where he was waiting for me. Like, you're gay. You tried to come on to your big sister, one of the sisters. You try to bring, the devil in here. You're trying to hurt us. And I'm 13. I'm scared. And the more he's saying this, he becomes very aroused. From that, there was some sexual abuse, along with a lot of physical abuse with the sexual abuse. And it was terrifying, because I knew I was trapped there, and I knew how sick this place was now, and that this was the person. Nobody questioned him. Whatever he said, we did. After that, he put you in it's like the Goodwill room / white room, where you have to be alone until you come out, like of isolation. I real quick said, nothing happened. I'm good. Everything's fine. I just want to go back. I just want to get back with the others. After you eat breakfast, you would go into chapel. And everybody who's in junior staff can write you up. They tell all your secrets, everything you do wrong, and the pastor reads it out loud and punishes you in front of everybody. So everybody can shame you too. So all these kids are like shaming you with him. You would see girls running away. You would see people trying to hurt themselves to get out of there if they couldn't take it anymore. Sometimes the abuse would get so bad. One time my parents came to visit me for Christmas, and I kept getting scared, because I know if they didn't believe me and they brought me back, it would be worse. As thinking like a child, that's just so desperate, I found some duct tape. I taped myself to like an old staircase. I dropped hints the whole time, but I didn't want to ruin Christmas. I said, take me anywhere, take me anywhere, take me anywhere but here, please. I'm getting sexually abused. I'm getting physically abused, getting trash cans on my head. They had me eat horse manure to say God wanted me to learn humility. I don't care where you take me, just don't let me go back there. And of course, being parents, and they went back there, and he claimed that we were just angry teenagers just wanting to get him back because he was strict. My Aunt Tracy was the one who helped me get out of Freedom Village. She snuck in thinking she was doing something fun to help, to surprise me, because she's thinking I'm at this camp. She sees a boy getting abused, and they pull her out and make her go to the administration building till pastor can come in. Pastor comes in and says, she's in trouble. She can't see you. And my aunt says, I don't care. I'll do the punishment with her. I want to see my niece. Anyways, eventually he gave in after talking with me and told me, you better not say anything. We know the stunt you pulled last Christmas. You better make us proud this time, or I'm going to make it 100 times worse. She saw some of the sickness, and she knew that something wasn't right there. And she started going to my family, and she started saying, this place is not right. And she started advocating for me. Eventually, come my 16th birthday, I planned something knowing that pastor was going to be in Canada at the time. And I told my mom that he said that I could leave. I put it in a message, told the people who were watching that it was just about maybe doing a home visit to bring in another girl that was troubled in my neighborhood. So I did lie, but it was an opportunity to get me out. As soon as they pulled up, I ran with whatever I could carry in my hands and yelled, go, 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 go. My mother, I think she just really wanted to believe that I was fixed, and whatever they did fixed me there. And I was able to get away, thank God. They didn't come after me. It was kind of amazing, to be honest with you. It was really an amazing moment, because I was free, but I was so scared after that I would just be sent back. Or what about the people I left behind? And I had a lot of shame and a lot of guilt, where I tried to help a lot of people because of leaving those girls behind. They had me with somebody that they wanted me to marry at this point right before I left. So I knew if I didn't get out, they would get me. I was not far from getting married. Some girls were getting married at 17 and he would sign. The only thing I knew was that Bible. And I dug into the Bible and I knew the things that he was teaching wasn't real. God was not this angry, mean person that they wanted him to be, that hated me, that shamed me, that didn't like me. I had struggled with some addiction for a little bit to try to mask the pain and the trauma, a lot of nightmares. I had to have somebody with me at all times. I had my two best friends with me. I became really good at art. I was really a good artist to make people feel good. So I took that into makeup artistry and also a creative outlet for my pain. When I got out, I was very angry. I had a lot of built up anger from never being able to talk. I had a lot from never being able to express it. And when I did express it to my family, they didn't believe me. They just kept thinking I was trying to guilt them because I kept talking about it. I couldn't be quiet about it. I kept saying, why did I have to go through that? Why didn't you believe me? Then I had the set of twins at 21, which continued. They came out with a lot of health issues though. And my first thought when I saw their health issues, this is because I sinned against pastor. And I said, I've got to let others know who are hurting like me that it's not because of that. That's what made me stronger. It made me stronger to get to this point so that I could tell people that about that place. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people who left that aren't doing as good as me. A lot of people are still in mental hospitals, severely still addicted to drugs, in jail. 2 years ago, Freedom Village tried to move to South Carolina. I went back in 2018 and acted like I was sorry. I went to repent to pastor. And I was only there for 24 hours just to collect as much information as I could to see what was still going on. And then others rose up and they stood against him. So they didn't move to South Carolina. And so therefore they denied them the permit to go there. And because of that, and because of his bankruptcy claims and stealing money, the place finally came crashing down 2 years ago. And I am so glad that no more children are there. Now he lives in Florida and he's still collecting donations for us kids and for him. He still has followers. There's still people out there who swear that they're better because of him and that he is, like godlike. Yeah, he still has people out there. There is some people in that town that knew he was bad. There's some writers out there you can find that were trying to take him down. But he had a good legal team that would fight up against him. People did not want to go up against him. I want to make sure that he's not around any other children ever again. And he's still collecting money. His son runs a program for children. He went in his father's footsteps. His son was part of the abuse. And because I was so young, I didn't get to go into staff. And a lot of people who went into staff became part of the abuse. So they don't want to talk. They don't want it to come out because they were a part of some things too. There's so much more to this story. The more you dig in, the more you're going to see how many years. This went on from the 70s until about 2 years ago. I was in therapy. I healed from therapy, talking. I went back there. Also writing about it, seeking help. I talked to a therapist on cults. My parents have apologized. My mother just even apologized again the other day. My father's apologized. They don't want to believe it. They want to downplay it because it's awkward and hard for them. My advice to anyone who has gone through something similar, a cult, you are not your shame. You are not your guilt. God is not this mean, hating, abusive man. That there is love, that there's forgiveness, there's grace, that there are people out there. You can take your biggest hurt and turn it into your biggest victory. You can bring purpose to your pain. I want others to know the truth. I want people to know that you can speak up when you feel that no one's going to believe you, that there is somebody out there who will believe you. When you feel shameful that something bad's happened to you, it's not who you are. That's not you. It may be a piece of something that happened to you, but you're not defined by that moment. Thank you so much for listening to my story today. I'm really grateful. I hope you were able to get something from my message and that you take something away from it and that it blesses you today in some sort of way. Thank you and have a great day.